Have you ever noticed how some cars from completely different brands look almost identical? Like if you park a Maruti Suzuki Baleno next to a Toyota Glanza, you will probably notice that the doors are the same, the windows are the same, the roof is the same, and even the dashboard layout is almost the same. The only real difference is the grille, the bumper, and of course the logo. Now this is not just one random case, mind you. Maruti Fronx and Toyota's urban cruiser Taisor are almost the same car. The Grand Vitara and Toyota Hyryder are also the same car. And even Ertiga and the Toyota Rumion are basically the same car. And here is a number that genuinely surprised me when I was doing my research for this video. If you put the Glanza, the Taisor, the Hyryder and the Rumion all together, these four models alone make up more than half of Toyota's sales in India. Basically, if you think about it, more than half of all the Toyotas on Indian roads today are effectively Marutis with just a different face and a different badge. But let me tell you the most interesting part here. See, if you go and check the prices of these two cars, the Maruti Baleno's top automatic variant is priced at roughly around 9.1 lakh ex-showroom, and the Toyota Glanza's top automatic variant is priced at around 9.44 lakh rupees ex-showroom. So if you think about it, the difference between the top models of these two nearly identical cars is roughly 35,000 rupees. So the big question is, why is this even happening? Why would Toyota, which is one of the world's biggest and most respected car companies, sell somebody else's car instead of making their own? And how are they exactly managing to pull it off without it backfiring on either Maruti or Toyota? That's exactly what I'm going to break down in today's video. My name is Anurag Bansal. This video has been supported by Zerodha 01 Media Network. Let's decode. So there's actually a term in the automobile industry for what Toyota and Maruti are doing. It's called badge engineering. Now to understand badge engineering, let's very simply think of a car like a human body. First, there's the stuff that you do not see, like the platform, the engine, the gearbox, electronics, suspension, and so on and so forth. And then there is the stuff that you do see, like the face of the car, the shape of the body, interior design, colors, logo, etc. Now here's the thing, sharing the skeleton across different models of cars is actually very common in the automobile industry, and many big car companies do it. For example, Hyundai and Kia share skeletons, and even Volkswagen and Skoda share skeletons. This is called platform sharing, and it is a very standard practice in the industry, like I said. But the thing is, in all of these cases, even though the base is the same, the cars eventually still look and feel very different from each other when you look at it from the outside at least. But what Toyota and Maruti are doing over here goes one step further. They are sharing the body as well. And then Toyota just changes the face a little bit, adds their own badge, tweaks a few features here and there, and sells it as a completely new car through their own showrooms. That is badge engineering. But to understand why Toyota actually chose to do this instead of just building its own small cars, you will need to first understand the position that both Toyota and Maruti were in before this partnership even started. See, globally, Toyota is known for building some of the most reliable cars on the planet. And even in India specifically, we absolutely love the Innova and the Fortuner. But here is the thing, the Indian car market is absolutely dominated by small and affordable cars. Cars like hatchbacks, compact sedans, entry-level SUVs, and so on. That is where the real volume is, and for the longest time, Toyota was simply not able to crack this segment. In fact, they even tried. In the early 2010s, they launched the Etios and the Etios Liva. They were budget cars designed specifically for India, but they eventually became taxis, and also sales never really came close to what Toyota was hoping for. And eventually, production had to be stopped around 2020, and Toyota lost a lot of money on that. In fact, Toyota's own leadership admitted that it was very difficult for them to develop India-specific small cars. The market was just moving so fast that they could not keep up with it. So Toyota was basically stuck in a very difficult position. They had fantastic reputation, they had fantastic technology, but they had a really low market share. Now what's interesting is that Maruti Suzuki had the exact opposite problem of this. Maruti completely owned India's small car market, but it was under massive pressure on the technology side of things. See, India's emission and fuel efficiency norms were getting stricter year after year, and Maruti also had to exit diesel engines because of this completely. And also, developing advanced hybrid and EV technology on its own would be insanely expensive for the company. And beyond that also, Suzuki, which is Maruti's parent company, had tried global partnerships earlier with Volkswagen and General Motors, but both of them ended in a not so good manner. So then you basically had two companies sitting right next to each other, both stuck but for completely opposite reasons. And that is when around 2016-2017, the leaders of both of these companies basically sat down and decided to get into a partnership. The deal was very simple. Maruti would handle engineering and manufacturing for the smaller cars, and Toyota would contribute its hybrid hybrid technology and would handle manufacturing for the larger hybrid models. And of course, eventually both of them would sell these cars through their own separate showrooms and their own sales channels. Now, in order to appreciate why this deal makes so much financial sense, let's quickly think about what it takes to make a car from scratch. See, a car needs thousands of crores of rupees in design, engineering, crash testing, emission testing, factory tooling, and also supplier development. All of this happens before you can sell a single unit. Now, you might look at all of this and think, if badge engineering is so effective, why does every car company not do it? And the thing is, a few companies have actually tried, but they failed very badly. Back in the 2010s, Renault and Nissan tried the exact same playbook in India. The Nissan Micra became the Renault Pulse, the Nissan Sunny became Renault Scalia, and Renault Duster became the Nissan Terrano. But the problem was that people could not really figure out why the rebadged version even needed to exist in the market in the first place. And the reason for that is actually very, very interesting. See, when Indian customers thought of Renault and when they thought of Nissan, neither of those brands had a very clear and distinct identity in their minds. Neither of these brands had been around for long enough in India to become go-to choices for Indian buyers. And even more importantly, neither of them had classic best-selling cars that people very strongly associated with the brand. Very similar to how the way Innova and Fortuner are associated with Toyota and the way Swift and Alto are associated with Maruti. So when Nissan cars were rebadged as Renault cars, the average buyer did not really see a reason to even care. The original was not that well known to even begin with, and the rebadged version was known even lesser. So the eventual result was, instead of expanding the market and reaching newer customers, the same small set of buyers just got split between two brands. And eventually both Renault and Nissan ended up losing instead of winning. But now if you look at Toyota and Maruti closely, the situation is fundamentally different. Both of these brands have spent decades building very, very distinct identities in the Indian consumer's mind. So the same car, when it is sold under two different badges, is genuinely able to appeal to two somewhat different set of buyers. And mind you, it's not because the car is different, but because what these brands mean to people itself is different. And probably the most interesting part about this entire partnership, at least for me, is that if you look closely at the product lineups of both Maruti and Toyota, you will notice that they have been very, very selective about which car models they are actually partnering with each other on. For example, Swift is one of Maruti's biggest volume sellers in India. So if Toyota had a rebadged version of the Swift, it would directly compete with one of Maruti's most commercially important brands.
Similarly, the Fortuner is probably one of Toyota's most popular cars in India.
So if the Maruti had its own version of the same car, Toyota would essentially be handing over its most valuable asset to them. But none of that is actually the case. All the badge engineered cars are in a specific middle zone where neither company's crown jewels are at risk. And the way I see it, this very, very small difference goes a really long way in making sure that these two brands do not eventually blend into each other and they still remain standalone identities in the minds of people. So now, considering all of this, if you go back and look at the 35,000 rupee price difference between Baleno and Glanza, you will also probably realize that it's not really for a different car, it's for a different meaning and a different value that is attached to what is effectively the same car. Now, of course, whether or not that meaning and value is actually worth that extra small amount of money to you is honestly and completely your call, and it really depends from person to person. For example, I drive a Baleno and I didn't even consider a Glanza when I was making my purchase. But from a business and brand perspective, this entire model is clearly working very, very well for Maruti and Toyota, both of them. That's all I have for you in today's video. If you found this video interesting, it'll be of great help if you could like the video and share it with people who you think would enjoy it as well. All of this is so that YouTube recommends this video to more people and I remain motivated to make more videos like this one for you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.